I call this base camping though because it's a full off-grid setup, and I'm gonna explain you why. Very simple why I do this, and where do I get the inspiration from as well, apart from my experience. So the experience from base camping is basically Asia. If you see Korean, South Korean, and Japanese, and even Taiwan do a lot of off-grid camping setup. They live mostly on camping sites, and I think the reason is because they are not, they don't have like huts and cabins in the same way that we, for example, in Norway does, and therefore there is a more culture for setting up a lot of stuff beside the car. The car is like 50 meters away from here, so it took me 3 trips to basically carry all of this here, and it's not a lot actually. It's a lot of lightweight things as well. And yeah, that's basically, and they do a lot of good food and have a nice time. I also do that because of my family, because I have a family of 4. That's also that why I rebranded, so I can spend more time with them and doing nature stuff as well, like it is then. Now, and here comes another reason that I do the off-grid camping base camp setup. I cannot try not to overthink this, but I think being a nomad or a camper doesn't have to be off-grid setup like it is, but it could be RV or just backpacking. I think the nomad camping site is going to be more of a more common thing to do in the next 10 or 20 years from now. And part of that might be the climate. It could be other stuff that will affect your normal life, and you need to move from where you are. So I think this will be more typical, more or less what you will see in the future for many people to come, if you like it or not, sadly. That's to keep it simple. Now, imagine this. You have a hut, or you go out backpacking, right? And you go out backpacking with all the things you need to be out in nature for, let's say, 3 days or so. That's very typical backpacking. What you have in the backpack is what you have for adapting to the nature. That's why you change layers and you put it on, and then you change layers, and then you set up the tent so you can have a nice time in nature. So we basically are adapting to nature in nature, and that's a very, very healthy thing to do. And animals do that all the time. Their fur on winter time is quite more that you have on summertime. Very normal. But if the weather changed to be too hot, maybe there be problems. They probably start to fall from the sky like they did in the UK under the heat wave. When you are backpacking, you adapt to nature, right? The problem is, on normal life, when you are building a house of concrete, or even trees, or even bricks, you're not gonna adapt to nature. Basically, you are oversteering what nature is, so you can survive and more or less give a shit about what's happening in nature or otherwise. If you can imagine the whole world of this world, or the whole population of this world, they basically just seeing around what's happening around them, and then read the news and maybe push the laugh icon, because it kind of is a threat to your interest, or you don't give a shit, you don't have a same interest. I'm a career advisor. I know that people have different interests. Some don't like nature, it's okay. Some like nature, is okay. Some like to produce a lot, mass produce things and everything, and cosmetics and stuff. Everyone is different, and that's the beauty of the world. But the problem is when you have so much people that are driving a car every day for 70 or 80 years, or you are having a house that takes a lot of material from the world, you're not adapting to nature. You try to do more than you really need. I'm not a climate activist, but this is a real issue. I drive diesel, I eat meat, I buy presents for my children, so I'm not a climate activist, but I'm surely worried about the future of the world and everything. So I think this kind of living is more or less what we should have more of as well, and we probably will be forced to be doing in the years to come. I think this kind of living is great because it's still a contact with nature, and it's very comfortable to be off-grid camping like we have. Okay. If you disagree, you agree, okay, good for you. Write your comment below. It's not, you can, if you don't need to be disagreeing or agreeing. I don't care really, but if you do, okay for you, good for you. Okay. But I'm trying to have a good time when I'm doing this. This is part of my job. This is part of my life for the last years from experience. And I think it's cool. I like to do nature stuff.